It's the motherfucking player haters. Oh, yeah.
Player haters.
Let's get right into this, ladies and gentlemen. This is some serious shit. Okay? Fix this a little bit. There we go. It's time. It's go time. This has to be probably, I think we've all mentioned it, but this has to be one of, if not the closest races that we've ever seen. And I, for one, I'm kind of thrilled that it's yeah, it's pretty fucking amazing. All right, let's get into it. Last week, week 18, one big victory that we'll get right into. Swinging and missing, and Jesus. There's been a collapse, if you will, for Jesus. Don't know what it is. Don't know where it might have gone wrong for him. Maybe some trades have affected him, or just holding on to people that, quite frankly, he rode the coattails of, and now they're just not producing really. Michael Bush, Pete Crow Armstrong. I mean, remember Pete Crow Armstrong? Ever since the All-Star break, I'll tell you, there's some names that were involved in that All-Star event that, man, normally you would say to yourself, it has to just be, the home run derby that really affects people, but Pete Crow Armstrong wasn't a part of that. And I can tell you, man, in the last few weeks, that boy has been seemingly MIA. Michael Bush, same. But Eric, man, he went out there and he destroyed in the first four batting categories Jesus last week. Willem Contreras. Then he goes out and picks up Marcell Ozuna. He has a good week, or a good couple of days for him. Corbin Carroll starting to shine a little bit. Max Muncy. And I can tell you, Eric is not going quietly into that good night. He is now in 8th place, and we'll get into it in a minute. How close this is all going to come down to it. And when I say in the title of today's podcast is every week counts, I'm talking about every single one of the remaining weeks. They mean more honestly than they've ever meant in a long time for what I'm about to get into. Ray faced off against Jason. It didn't go so well for Ray as it did for myself, but this one was also a pretty close matchup in some respects. Now, again, I've but I've reminded my wife just about every single day to check her roster. And apparently she was like, I didn't want to check my roster last week because she didn't want to check it on a day when she had 3 starting pitchers. But she was able to take runs and stolen bases. But other than that, she didn't have really a good batting week. And Jason was able to at least, I don't know how to best say it, but he won. But not really probably the numbers that he still is kind of used to. He's not really getting a lot of production from Wyatt Langford. Gleyber Torres kind of had an off week again, but some things are picking up for him. Trey Turner, Pete Alonso, big names like that. He's going to rely on a lot more coming down the stretch. But he took the victory 8-4, and it put him up over, because him and I going into last week were tied, going into last week we're tied, and he was able to jump me in the rankings and get a better standing, if you will. I have more wins than he does, but man, those stupid ass ties, I swear, they're ridiculous. Another person that cannot be counted out is Mandalorian Scott took on Bro Sean. And this one was pretty close for between these two gentlemen. They split the batting stats very close in stolen bases and average, home runs. Only one separated them. Even in the ERA, but Scott was able to walk away with one more point or score, if you will, in the pitching categories. He had 5 wins, 63 strikeouts, and a 1.33 whip, but they tied in quality starts. But yeah, Scott's got a team. And when they're all doing well, like Christian Yelich and Corey Seager and Ketel Marte. Ketel had a great week last week. Kyle Raleigh, I mean, another very productive person, even though he only batted 160. I mean, he drove in 10. This is going to be something that Mandalorians is going to need to, just he's got a great roster from JT Realmuto on down. I mean, solid top to bottom guys. And if he plays the right people, he might really just make a push. Because he's not out either. And again, this is what I'm talking about. In my opinion, I don't think anybody's out because we have weeks 19, 20, 21, and 22. 4 weeks remaining. Now, here is one that he's just chomping at the bit for me to talk about. That's Walker. Walker he's honestly been inspirational, if you will. I know, right? Walker, inspiring. But when you go toe to toe with somebody that just a few weeks ago was arguably the best team, and now they're looking at the outside looking in, and that's Nick. And Walker just destroyed him, especially, I say especially, it was close in some categories. The wins, quality starts, save plus holds. Okay, but just one makes all the difference. But he destroyed him in strikeouts. He had 1.20, 1.2, I suck at math, people, 1.26 better ERA. And a 0.20 whip. So, but again, Walker's main objective, play the right people and get the right, get the win and make sure it's noticeably a win. And that's what last week was. Nick was put on notice that you might be one of the teams out when you're going up against, again, Walker, what were you, 10th, 11th, just 3-4 weeks ago? And now we're talking about you in the top 6. And he's doing so with a very limited batting staff, which we know that this is how he always loves to operate, and a very strong pitching staff. And Nick just wasn't able to hang tough. I mean, he had Bo Bichette, who put up some really good numbers for him. But a lot of the players that Nick would probably be depending on, like Ozzie Albies and Kyle Tucker, again, another Chicago Cub in the All-Star, just not doing well, not producing. And meanwhile, somebody like Jose Altuve, who I don't think he would have made the roster, I believe, in the All-Star game, but didn't go. He's, shining brighter than he did earlier on in the season. I can tell you that much. But even Francisco Lindor, and he had an off week. Fernando Tatis just not producing that much. But Nick, again, not feeling good about this 9-3 loss that Walker gave to him. Another good matchup that we watched last week was Josh versus Brian. This again was against two top 6 teams, and Brian, he definitely held his own. He was only down by 1 RBI. The average in the OBP went his way. The stolen bases have kind of slowed down a little bit for him, But I mean, Brian, you only lost by 2 strikeouts. The ERA for both of you gentlemen is not really what you guys are accustomed to or what you wanted. And you were able to walk away with 6, over 4 in the save plus holds, but just not enough quality starts. But in the end, Brian took the loss 7-5, but definitely kept him in a good spot versus Josh. And Josh, definitely is inching ever so closely to that number 1 spot. And speaking of number 1, Shane and I, we danced again. And I can just say this, Shane, even though you stream on me, which you take pride in, I guess, and you want to, probably toss into the wind like, Yasiel Rodriguez, sucks. But I get it. You don't want to lose. But I don't know, man. I feel like that sometimes just karma just loves to deal you a nice little bowl of eat that dick. And I love it. Like, I love just seeing that you're going to stream on me. I didn't bitch. I knew it was going to come. You basically like threw it out there that that's what you were going to do. And it came back not necessarily to bite you in the ass, because it didn't bite you in the ass, because you ended up like getting what you needed from the would this come on? I mean, what the fuck? Hello. Try my gosh. Trying to get back to the week that is week 18 and it wouldn't give me the option. Anyways, but I mean, Shane, you got what you wanted out of the other Casey, the Casey that you picked up. You got the what was that? Quality start. No, you got a win from him, 5 strikeouts, but you dropped him like, like that's all I needed him for. A win. That's fine. But again, I just feel somewhat vindicated when I ended up still, beating you, and I took over the categories that, you actually were doing a little bit better in the batting. I couldn't believe that my Sunday went like it did, or rather yours did. That was the only day last week where you didn't hit a fucking home run. And thankfully, I mean, it was kicking I was kicking myself in the ass for how much I was leaving Spencer Steer on the bench. I mean, he alone would have tied me in home runs and would have made going into Sunday a lot more of a less stressful moment, in my opinion. I mean, just 3 days prior, Spencer had 2 runs, a home run, and 4 ribbies. And then he comes back and does it again. And I feel like the average in OBP would have even been a little bit better. But regardless, I took care of business 7-5. And if anything, just kept me relevant for one more week. That was week 18. That's how it shaped up. Now, week 19's looking even a little bit fucking crazier. Right now, Sean and I are struggling for whatever. And of course, I know somewhere, especially right now with Nathan Eovaldi just fucking shit in the bed, which we all knew it would happen. Eventually, you can't keep the good times going. He's probably headed towards the IL because he's got a 19.29 ERA right now. But again, I know somewhere old Shane is, smiling on his brother's behalf. But myself and Sean will face off. And again, I don't think that I cannot confidently say that with the remainder of the time, with 4 weeks, if we get big enough separation scores for even these bottom 2 teams, I don't think we can count them out if 2-3 weeks go by. And again, I'll get into that in a second. But right now, we've got myself facing off against Sean, Shane facing off against Ray Ray. Josh is facing off against Walker. By far, that's the game of the week. That's the one you guys want to check in on the chat for every day. However, you also want to pay attention to Nick and Jesus, because Jesus is looking to try to get back into contention. And again, we'll talk about this in a second. Nick wants nothing more than to bump either myself or the 6th place person, Walker, back into the bottom 6. Scott and Eric are going at it. And like I've said, Scott has every capability of getting into the top 6. And Jason will face off against Brian. This is also another top 6 matchup. The only other one this week is them. And so, yeah, you want to watch that because Brian is looking to clearly get into one of the bye week spots, but also just stay relative to the remainder of the season because, as I've said, every week counts, and it counts more so than it ever has before, in my opinion. Excuse me. And here's the reason why. After last week, Shane now only has a 1-game lead over Josh. 5.5 games back is Brian. 4 games back from Brian is Jason and myself. 2 games back from me is Walker. Crazy to think about, but here's where it even gets crazier. Just 2 games back from Walker is Nick. Only 2.5 games back from Nick is Eric. That's fucking nuts. So when you think about it, it's only 4.5 games back from Walker, who sits in 6th place. 4.5 games back. That's it. No, that's not it. That is it. No. 3. Yes, 4.5. Sorry, my math sucks. 4.5 games back. Only half a game back from Eric. Half a game is Scott. So if Eric's 4.5 games back, 5 games back is Scott. 5 games. That's it. Just 5. 5. Put it more into perspective. He's only, what is that? 9.5 games back from Brian, who's in 3rd. 9.5 games back. We still have 4 weeks. Troubleshooters is only a half a game back from Scott. It's fucking nuts, man. And then, yes, I know I said this. Hitman, Sean, and Ray. 28.5 games back. But when you say this, they're only... So, let me do my math. Rally Monkeys and Sean are 16 games apart. 16. And then when you look at Ray, she's only 19 games back. 19. If she has a big fucking, 2 weeks, especially, think about she's facing Shane. If she has a big week and takes, 8-2, 8-4, something like that, she could really affect and alter the landscape. She's not done. She's not out. She's got one of the most moves. So does Sean. I'm just saying, there's nobody eliminated yet. There's no, normally we get a little asterisk or something beside to say, this person is locked in. I wouldn't necessarily say it's always been in week 19, but we've usually been able to understand at least, let's say, the top 4 at this point. At this point in the season, nothing is safe. No one is safe. No one is going into this week feeling like my playoff spot is secure. No one. Nick thought he was 2 weeks ago. Nope. And that's what we're talking about. Every week counts. 4 more weeks to go. This shit just got real fucking crazy. So, that's all I got for you people. Y'all better strap in because this is going to be fun. Yeah. So, anywho, that's it. That's all I got for you fuckers. Hope you have a good night. And yeah, I'm kind of liking this whole approach that I'm taking where I'm trying to get done quicker. The wife hates it, but yeah, have a good night. Later. It's the motherfucker. Hey,